Alright, so in 2011, Audiolab's M-DAC kind of redefines the affordable DAC landscape. It wins 5 consecutive What Hi-Fi Product of the Year awards before retiring undefeated, mind you, in 2016. And now, after almost a decade of highly praised integrated DAC solutions, Audiolab is back, unleashing 2 new specialist DACs, D7 and D9. What do they offer? Who are they for? And crucially, is this the next must-have component in your hi-fi system? Well, let's find out. Giving you a quick overview of the two, Audiolab's entry-level external DAC D7 mirrors the clean, minimalist aesthetic of the 6000 and 7000 series. It uses the ESS Sabre ES9038Q2M chip, Bluetooth 5.1 with aptX HD, and full MQA decoding. It is smart, it is slick, and it incorporates a range of serious trickle-down technology. D9 by comparison is Audiolab's new reference grade unit, incorporating 9000 series DNA. So the sharper edges, the embossed logos, the IPS display, and the flagship ES9038 Pro DAC. Add in L-DAC to the Bluetooth lineup and a pro-grade AES EBU input, and D9 becomes a DAC with serious ambition here. Both offer 5 DAC filters, high-power headphone amplification, inbuilt volume adjustment, and full-function remote controls. Now, for all of you out there who are a little unfamiliar with DACs, every device that plays digital music has a DAC. Your phone has a DAC, your TV has a DAC, hell, even your fridge will probably have a DAC these days. But quality varies, right? The DAC in your phone won't hold a candle to the one in your integrated amplifier. And like all things in hi-fi, if you separate and specialize, you continue to raise the bar even further still, generating even greater detail, dynamic soundstage, as well as reducing the noise floor further and further away. But it is important to remember that not all setups are going to reveal these differences in the same way. So if your system or your room acoustics are somewhat underwhelming, even the best external DAC in the world can't work miracles. Diving a little deeper into D7, we see that it's using the same DAC chip that's found in the 6000A Mark II and the 7000A. It supports PCM playback up to 32-bit 768 kHz, DSD512, and the full MQA decoding. Its inputs include USB-B, USB-A, coax, optical, and Bluetooth 5.1 with aptX HD. Its outputs include balanced XLR, unbalanced RCA, optical and coaxial digital out, plus a high-power headphone amplifier. And there are 5 selectable DAC filters with optional MQA upsampling. Alright, so who is this DAC for and why might you want one? Well, while we tend to keep amplifiers for years, DAC technology moves pretty fast. New chipsets are regularly outclassing inbuilt options, and the D7 is an affordable way to breathe new life into older gear without completely replacing it. It is especially compelling for 6000A owners seeking an upgrade. Because if digital sources like CD transports or streamers or smart TVs are your go-to and vinyl isn't your thing, D7 can become a digital pre. You plug it into your amp, you switch to power mode, you bypass the internal preamplifier, and you will get dramatically cleaner, more dynamic sound, lower noise, and better imaging. This works not just with the 6000A, but with any integrated amplifier offering that multi-mode functionality, so that on top of the improved DAC performance, the filters, and the topology within D7, you're gonna bypass a lot of unnecessary circuitry within your integrated amplifier to give you that more refined, separate sound. But the D7 isn't just for hi-fi rigs. Thanks to its high-grade headphone amp, borrowed straight from the 7000A, it's an incredible desktop option too. Whether you're making the most of high-res digital streaming like Tidal or Qobuz, or you're a gamer, and to be honest, gaming through this DAC would be incredible. D7 slaps. Now, for bit-perfect playback when plugged into PCs or Macs, software like Autovana or Roon is well worth your consideration. While my experience with the macOS audio MIDI setup let me select a preferred bit depth and sample rate up to 32-bit 768 kHz, that setting is fixed system-wide. So if I was streaming 24-bit 48 kHz track, but the audio MIDI was set to 192, macOS would upsample the stream before it ever reached the DAC, which was reflected on the D7's OLED display. Fun fact though, my iPad actually passed on the native resolution perfectly, and in a blind test between the two, honestly the differences were imperceptible, at least to me. But if this is going to be something that is going to bug you, one of those aforementioned software solutions will be your fix. Bottom line, D7 is a highly competent DAC. Whether you're reviving a beloved amplifier, bootstrapping that desktop sound quality, or looking to take your gaming to the next level, D7 is worth serious consideration. D9 by comparison is Audiolab's reference option. It features the reference grade ESS Sabre ES9038 Pro DAC with full high-res support for PCM playback up to 32-bit 768 kHz, DSD512 and the full 3-fold MQA decoding. There is expanded digital input connectivity here with AES EBU, 2 optical, 2 coaxial, USB-B, USB-A, plus Bluetooth 5.1 with aptX HD and L-DAC. Its output options include balanced XLR, unbalanced RCA, optical and coaxial digital out, and again there are 5 selectable DAC filters and optional MQA upsampling. And its high-performance headphone amp uses current feedback architecture with wide bandwidth and low distortion, designed to drive any cans you pair with it. In terms of fit and finish, D9 is right out of the 9000 series playbook. The sharper edges, the slight sheen on the unit's aluminum fascia, the embossed Audiolab logos and power symbol, the full-sized volume and function dials, and that gorgeous 2.8-inch IPS full-color display. It's a truly stunning DAC. And D9 is no wallflower here. Measuring in at 315 by 277 by 88 millimeters, this is a mighty DAC indeed. It's well over half the size of a full-width 9000 series component. It's a remarkable looking and sounding piece of kit and well worth the asking price. Now D9 is definitely aimed at listeners upgrading their aging DAC, whether that's internal or external, albeit within much higher end systems. But what about existing Audiolab users, especially 9000 series owners? Is the D9 a worthwhile upgrade or just more of the same in a lineup that is already stacked with strong inbuilt DACs? Well, the answer kind of lies in the law of diminishing returns. Now, the easiest way to understand increases in sound quality and the law of diminishing returns is probably to imagine that you're standing before the Mona Lisa, obscured by 1,000 individual layers of muslin cloth. That's probably the equivalent of a low bitrate MP3 on a Bluetooth speaker, yeah? Switch to an entry-level 2-channel system and a good chunk of that veil falls away. The image is suddenly clearer, the colors begin to pop out at you, and you're beginning to understand what all the fuss is about, right? Well, step up to a pre-power separate system, swap in a 24-bit 48 kHz FLAC file, and a whole heap more of that cloth drops away. Now you're really starting to see the full picture, and you can even make out the brush strokes. And in the process, you become somewhat of a connoisseur. But here is where diminishing returns kicks in, because with every new addition, power conditioning, high quality cables, even external DACs, yeah? You're peeling away fewer and fewer layers of cloth. You're still improving things, but the gains aren't as great. And so you gotta ask yourself, am I removing enough cloth for the cost? D9 against the inbuilt 9000 options does remove more cloth. Track details do come forward. Take Alibi for example, the opening track of Banks' debut album Goddess. It begins with these whispery, processed hi-hats and these really tight percussive clicks. And through the preamp alone, they are there, but they're more subdued. Slot in the D9 and they begin to step into focus, yeah? And if you bypass the preamp entirely and run the D9 into the power amp, well, those clicks, they come into like full strike. And what you've got is this once subtle percussive texture that's now become a key element of the atmosphere that Banks is trying to build at the beginning of this track. And all of that from just a few extra sheets of muslin cloth, right? This is subtle, but at this high-end level, it is significant. I A/B tested 3 different scenarios using the 9000 CDT and the 9000 streamer. System 1 used the 9000 pre-power combo exclusively without the D9. System 2 introduced the D9 into the chain, and then System 3 bypassed the pre entirely with the D9 connected directly into the 9000P. Now, straight up, The differences between all these systems were very, very subtle. All units in the 9000 series use the same ES Sabre 9038 Pro DAC. That's the D9, the 9000A, the Q, and the Network Streamer, but there were distinctions between these three scenarios. A/B tests between System 1 and 3 revealed the biggest sonic leap. The jump between 1 and 2 was far clearer than between 2 and 3, meaning that the inclusion of the D9 into the chain made the biggest difference overall. But across the board, we are talking very fine margins here. That said, the D9 does peel away more layers, especially when plugged into the power amp. Lower noise floor, blacker background, sharper dynamics, better detail. But at what cost, right? D9 is by no means outrageous, but it's no impulse buy either. Would I fork out for one if I had a 9000 rig? Yeah, I would. But I am a ridiculous human being who is clearly obsessed with high fidelity. And if there's a greener patch of sonic grass, I'm probably going to head out for it. So if you're equally as ridiculous as I am, and your DAC is showing age, or if you've got an existing 9000 series component and you're kind of intrigued by the incremental improvements that you could make, D9 is well worth your time. It's a very serious reference DAC, and it might just repeat the acclaim Audiolab earned with the original M-DAC. Well, that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned just a little bit more about these two incredible new products from Audiolab. If there's anything more that you want to know about these two individual DACs, simply head on over to avrevolution.com.au or leave us a comment below. We will get back to you as soon as we possibly